Where are my dysfunctions at? Come through, come through. I am here for you. I see you. You've been through it all, and I'm here to tell you you're not alone. If you grew up in an unbalanced karmic family, if you've dated and befriended all the wrong people, if you've chased love in the broken places and found yourself constantly heartbroken, but still choose to love anyway, this episode is for you. You've been set up to fail before you ever had a chance. But despite the pain, the disappointments, despite it all, you still choose to love. And that's huge. That right there, that's everything. I want to talk about something real today. For many of us, family is supposed to be this source of unconditional love, support, and safety. But for others, it's actually a place of pain, chaos, and deep rooted trauma. And you know what? You don't even realize how much everything is connected until you gain the awareness, the education, and step into both the light and the darkness of a spiritual awakening. It's in that moment when you have your aha moment that everything starts to make sense. Those old family patterns you thought were long behind you, they show up, and they start showing up everywhere. In your dating life, in your relationships, in the choices you make. It's like they follow you, trying to basically find a way to heal themselves through you. And that's when it hits you. Your family's unresolved issues are still playing out in your life. And it's not just your family, it's the patterns you've inherited, the trauma that you didn't ask for, but still had to carry. And it shows up in the love you choose, the friends you surround yourself with, and the life you're building. Good times. We're not taught how to spot these patterns, let alone break them. But trust me, once you wake up to them, you can't unsee them. The more you start to see those patterns for what they are, the more you realize those broken places you kept chasing love in, they're not your fault. You're conditioned to look for love there. And it hurts. It really hurts. Because you thought it was real, but it wasn't. And that's okay. But here's the thing, you survived it all and you're still here, you're still choosing to love, you're still choosing to grow, and you're still choosing to be better. And that's where your power is. Look, being raised in a dysfunctional family teaches you some hard truths. You learn about conditional love versus unconditional love. You learn that privacy doesn't exist. You learn that projections and trauma can play out in every relationship you have. But here's the positive spin. They're actually the cheat codes that reveal the true feelings and the fears of the people around you. They show you how they feel about themselves, and all of this, it's been programmed into you from the day you were born. But we, as generational curse breakers, are here to break down everything we've been taught. We're resetting everything and returning to pure consciousness so we can live authentically. And that's where the real power lies. You see, all my relationships I had were karmic, codependent, and toxic. Narcissistic relationships in particular can teach you the lens others will go to destroy your peace. I've dated one too many soulless vessels after another, all wearing different masks but with the same addictions: gambling, alcohol, sex, and a fast-lane, superficial lifestyle. These vessels were compulsive, succubus-like liars with obsessive and psychopathic, perverse tendencies. And all with a heavy dose of mummy issues, because you can't miss that one. They teach you something though. They teach you the power of not reacting. By pushing your boundaries to the limit reveals their game, and once you've seen it enough times, it becomes almost humorous, like you're in training to spot the games, to see the lies, to break free from the cycle. Once you've witnessed the games of a narcissist or an energy vampire, because let's be real, they're the same thing, you realize there's nothing more to them. They're just empty vessels, constantly seeking validation and love in the most destructive ways because they never received it as children. And they will do anything to fill that void, but it's never enough. They never change. Never. It's not worth it. Let it go. But here's the lesson. Those relationships weren't mine to fix. It wasn't until I started healing my own wounds that I realized how deeply these patterns were ingrained in me. I finally understood that healing my trauma was the key to breaking free from the cycle. I had buried so much pain for so long that when I entered these relationships, I was unknowingly seeking to fill those voids within myself. These toxic relationships felt like an illusionary form of protection, but in reality, they only deepened the damage. When you're constantly entangled in these dynamics, your nervous system gets stuck in fight or flight mode. You're in survival mode, always on high alert, and that deregulates your entire system. Your body becomes so accustomed to this heightened state that it becomes normal. But you don't realize the damage it's causing until you learn about how it affects you physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Stress, anxiety, fatigue, these are just some of the ways your body responds to being in a toxic, draining relationship. So, what do you do when you realize this? You change your perception. You choose to see things differently, to heal, to unlearn the old patterns of dysfunction, pain, and disappointment. You can choose to break free from it, because while it's tempting to stay stuck, while it's easy to go back to what's familiar, it doesn't serve you. In fact, staying stuck in that pain just keeps you in a constant loop of strife. And who wants that? Who wants to work overtime just to stay miserable? Like, no one, absolutely no one. I mean, unless you're a narcissist, but like nobody. Like, we didn't come here to suffer. We came here to learn, unlearn, heal, grow, and more importantly, find our way back to love. And that's what I want you to remember. Despite everything you've been through, despite the trauma, despite the heartbreak, you still have the capacity to choose love. And that's your power. Think about it this way. It's like a card game. Sometimes you think you've been dealt a bad hand, but here's the real question. What are you going to do with that hand? Are you going to let it dictate your life, or are you going to make the most of it, choose differently, and play it better? The key is in your perspective. The way you see things changes everything. So let's get real. It's not about being perfect. It's about choosing differently. It's about stepping into your truth, letting go of the past, and creating the life and the love you deserve. It's about realizing that the patterns from your family, your past, and your trauma don't have to define your future. You get to decide who you are and who you want to be. And that's a wrap on today's episode of The Voice of Impact. If anything hit home for you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this with someone who needs it, and hit that follow button. Drop a review if you're feeling generous, because your love helps get these conversations out in the world. Remember, you're not alone on this wild ride. Keep questioning, stay true to who you are, and never be afraid to shake things up. Until next time, I'm Lena, and I'll catch you in the next episode, where the real talk never stops.